So we all know that Link monsters are coming out towards the end of the summer, and that's going to change pretty much everything about the game. But in this video, I want to share 5 cards that I think should come off the ban list before we get Link monsters. So just a little bit of background real quick. The thing about Link monsters is they make general extra deck strategies a lot weaker. You have to incorporate Link monsters if you want to open all your zones to special summoning monsters from the extra deck. So all the cards that I have on this list are basically cards that, are extra deck cards that I think with Link summoning won't be nearly as broken and abusable as they once were. Some of these might be like, a little bit questionable. I could see how someone might say like, but should be interesting. I want to hear you guys' thoughts. Number 1, Windup Carrier Zen Mighty. So this is a card that honestly, even before Link monsters were ever a thing, I thought should come off the ban list and come to like 1. I mean, let's be honest. We're in a format where, so many rank 3 monsters, so many Xyz monsters get so much more done. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, I see how this card in like today's game could still be a problem, right? I mean, we've got, Terratop and, the new Predaplant engine and all that stuff, where making these rank 3s is just easy, and I could see where some combos could start happening. And yes, I still know that there's a hand loop. But the thing is, I mean, like, Cypher, Lord Omega, and the Trishula deck would like to have a word with you. I mean, 1 Zen Mighty would not be that bad. And that's just talking like today's standards. I mean, by the time Link monsters come out, just running like windups really as a deck isn't really gonna be very easy. I mean, you'll have to incorporate Link monsters, and we know that's kind of its own can of worms. So I really and honestly, truly think that this card would be totally fine coming to just like at least 1. Card number 2 is Ritual Beast Ulti Canahawk. So I know that Ritual Beasts aren't the most popular deck. A lot of people don't like how, it loops and the turns can take a while. But the thing about Ritual Beasts is, since losing Ulti Canahawk, this deck really, really struggles. I mean, the deck already has its own fair share of flaws. The monsters are kind of like slow to start, and it's pretty easy to disrupt. The fact of the matter is, I mean, with only 1 Ulti Canahawk, if anything bad happens to that Ulti Canahawk, it's just kind of done. And, not to mention just the fact that, like, it severely limits their plays. And I'm not a Ritual Beast player, I know Alex is, and I've played a lot of them online. Most people feel like even if Ulti Canahawk was at 2 or at 3, Ritual Beast would not be, like, dominating the meta. And I think that most of us can agree with that. The thing is, when Link monsters come out, Ritual Beasts are going to be kind of just nerfed even more. I mean, that much less access, or at least free access to your extra deck, and Link monsters Ritual Beasts and Link monsters, I don't think that that's a deck where you could easily incorporate them to circumvent that. So Ritual Beasts are just going to kind of be like high and dry. So for that reason, I think it's perfectly fine to give them a 2nd or even like a 3rd Ulti Canahawk. You guys can tell me if you disagree. And the last one before we get to the more controversial ones is Ignister Prominence, the Blasting Draco Slayer. So this card, honestly and truly, I mean, Pendulums are about to get a really, really, really harsh hit, in addition to just the general extra deck hit. So, I mean, it's hard enough just summoning your Pendulum monsters out now. And, even just the Pendulum scale is now Take Up Spell and Trap card zones. I really just truly don't think that the Pendulum decks will, I mean, I think like they can eventually survive this whole thing, but it's going to be tough. And I just feel like, this card shouldn't be too much of a problem. We've already, pretty severely hampered the whole like Luster Pendulum engine and all that stuff. So I don't, Draco Face Off and all that, and I don't think this card will be all that bad. I mean, most of the time when this card was getting summoned, it was from like the Fusion monster and, it getting extra materials out on the field and stuff. So, I mean, for being honest, this card could probably come to 2, probably come to 3. Pendulum decks won't be very popular, at least not initially, when Links come out. So, yeah, I don't think it'll be that bad. So, controversial card number 1 is El Shaddoll Construct. Now, this is something that I really, I've always felt like Construct was eventually going to come back, and I think that now it's just more likely than ever, because Construct, I mean, Shaddolls aren't going to be able to summon a whole lot of fusion monsters, not too easily at least. Once Link monsters come out, I mean, I do think Shaddolls as a deck will be able to utilize Link monsters in their own builds more easily than other decks. But again, before Links were even announced, I thought that Construct was a card that probably needed a return. Without it, Shaddolls really and truly feel lost. You can make these cute variants. You can, make the fire one or the wind one or whatever. You can, tech them as an engine into something. But the honest truth is, Shaddolls suck without Construct. They really need Construct to make true combos. And when you consider how fast the game has gotten outside of, since kind of Construct's time, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I mean, yes, you can spam things like Trick Clown. Yes, you can, abuse a lot of different light engines, but the honest truth is, I mean, there are decks that can do far worse, and one single construct would not be that bad. You know, it can still get like bottom list and just things like that. So I don't think it's one of those things where it'll just get completely out of hand. You can agree, you can disagree, let me know in the comments, but the next card will probably trigger even more people, so yeah. Levolval Chain. I know that this one might be going out on a limb, I know that this card is abusable, but the reason why I honestly and truly feel like this card could come back to 1, even really without link summoning, is 1, we have Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, which just kind of says, nope, boop, get out. And B, we've got like That Grass Looks Greener, literally sending like 20 cards from the deck to the graveyard on most of the time anyway. This is just in addition to the fact that the primary decks that Levolval Chain was good in, like, you know, for its time mostly, you know, the whole Clown Blade and also Infernity like builds and stuff like that, those are decks that spam extra deck monsters, like spam rank 4s, but the problem now is with link monsters, it's not going to be so easy to just pop out rank 4s. So I really think that this shouldn't be too bad at 1. I will openly accept that I could be totally wrong about that. I'm sure there will be abuse, but it would be interesting to see. That concludes the 5 cards that I think should come back off the ban list before Link Monsters come out. I say this again because I feel like, you know, with Nationals being like on, you know, July 7th, 8th or something like that, Link Monsters coming out around like the 21st, there's probably going to be a ban list in between those times, and when that ban list happens, I think that several cards should just move around, come off. These are cards I think should. Of course, you know, there are plenty of other cards in the ban list that maybe should get touched, but that's a different story, different video. Let me know what you guys think though. What cards do you think should come off the ban list? I guess I'll just briefly mention, I thought about Tellarknight Ptolemaeus, wasn't so sure. I also thought about Exiton Knight, but I still think that card could just be really broken. So not really sure on all of them, but let me know what you guys thought of my decisions. I want to hear your comments, I want to hear your thoughts. And if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you loved it for more Yu-Gi-Oh! More information on that Maximum Crisis box giveaway very, very soon. Without further ado, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Later.